Hey, mighty peeps, welcome back. I've got another guest, and I'm really excited today to welcome Erica Grant from momsonthegrow.com to the Mighty Marketing Mojo chat as we're continuing to talk about our content marketing and content refreshes. Some of us are doing some content demo and some content whole house makeovers, blog edition. And I'm really excited just to feature three very different business owners with different types of content, different niches, different audiences, and how we've each tackled a similar challenge and project, but come at it differently. So I'll give you a second for Erica to introduce herself, and then we can talk about what made you decide to tackle this project this month. But Erica, let everybody know who you are and who you serve and help.
Oh, hi, Jennifer. I'm Erica Grant, and I am the mom behind Moms on the Grow. I help moms that are feeling overwhelmed or put their dreams and things on the shelves to help their help their children. I help them kind of refocus on their dreams so they can continue fresh for their families. And thanks again, Jennifer.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Erica. So, for those wondering, and if you joined us and you missed, there are two more videos. I want you to join my guest, Karen Crompton and Pam Hamilton, and then you're going to come back and you're going to see me talk about content. But we all took on a challenge this month, during the month of September, to give fresh eyes to our blogs, to our websites. And it's not now, granted, Pam did do an entire branding makeover, and so did Karen. I'm not, but I have in the past. And we're really focusing on our free content and primarily blog posts. So I guess the question is, I know you've got some really great stuff coming up, and I want everybody to stay tuned because Erica has something really exciting that she's going to tell you that she's working on. Knowing that, what made you decide to tackle content refreshing during September?
It was so interesting, like listening to Karen and Pam, because we all had the same kind of reason. We just had different ways to go about it. I have a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks and decided I wanted to clean my house. But I just did this last year. I just rebranded from a hobby blog that I had for 6 years and rebranded last year, but I never finished. You know how you do like
Yeah.
a whole makeover and then but you didn't like
Mhm.
really get into the nitty gritty. So there were posts that I knew I could carry over to the Moms on the Grow website, but I never went in and dug through them and cleaned them up. I just kept them because I knew they fit. So for this contact refresh, that was my goal, to go in and find what was what I didn't finish from when I did the actual rebrand last year to Moms on the Grow. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so, which is, I think, that's how I also noticed at one point that I had also done some refreshing in the past.
Hmm.
And but like you mentioned, oops, I left some stuff in the corner.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Exactly.
so one of the things that I was working on, and Erica and I are going to share our shameful little secret that both of us were up late last night.
Yeah, very.
There was some messaging back and forth late last night, but that so one of the things that was on my spreadsheet, if you're in the Mighty Marketing Facebook group, you'll know that I shared my tracking spreadsheets from Google where I'm tracking the posts that I am refreshing. And one of those ones that was caught up in, like, oops, the dirt got swept into the closet under the rug,
Right.
were some blog posts where I never fixed the images. They were still from the old brand.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, that's got to be the first thing that I tackle.
Okay.
I have got to fix that. It's got the wrong web URL in the picture. Um, so for me, that was like the first thing that went on the spreadsheet, was noting down which posts absolutely positively before the end of the month had to have fixed images. So that's where I started first. Where did you start first?
Well, I exported all my URLs because I'm really geeky too. I just don't have like a tech website, but I'm really geeky. So I export all my URLs into a I use a system. It's like a spreadsheet called Airtable. It's a database
Yeah.
system. And then it gives you all the basic information about all the pages and posts on your website. And I added some columns like check broken links, check SEO, check images to make sure the images were branded. A lot of my images were still branded for the old site,
Right.
although they were still on the new site. So I went through it, and I'm not completely done, but I'm going to try to finish by the end of tonight. But I did go through, and I checked the broken links were first, because you can do that with one website that will tell you all the broken links. So I fixed all the broken links, which were links that were in websites that no longer were to other blogs that don't exist anymore, or
Yeah.
to sites that the page just doesn't exist anymore. So I fixed those. I fixed the images. I use Canva to fix the images and
Yep.
just check it off in Airtable and go back to the content. There was one post, and I went through Google Analytics too. That was part of our refresh. There was this one post, and I talked to Jennifer about this, that was getting over 30% of my traffic.
Yeah.
And it was the third post I wrote in 2014. And I'm like, why is it getting all this traffic? I guess the SEO was good. I don't know. And it was only 2 paragraphs long. So that one
Amazing.
post, just to refresh it and meet it up and make sure the people who are coming to the site for that content are getting the most up-to-date version. Even I'm better at it now than I was 6 years
Sure.
ago, just so I can deliver it a lot better now. So that was interesting. The analytics are always fun. So
I definitely learned a lot, and I had a post too. I went back. I'm like, all right, what are the very first posts that I wrote? Because like my site started with a different brand,
mhm.
and the first posts were from 2012 and 2013, and I'm like, do I even want to look at this? And I'm like, okay, this is more like a tweet. It was like 2 paragraphs. And I'm like, oh, do I keep this? I'm like, well, it's kind of where I started. But like you said, broken links was another one, and it happens if you've had a website longer, then inevitably something else that you pointed to at one point out on the internet has changed. And
Exactly.
so there was a post I was working on refreshing last night, and in my spreadsheet, I just had that I needed to fix the image. That was the top thing I needed to do, and maybe some formatting. But when I actually clicked the link in the post, it was curated content. I was talking about something that the blog Quick Sprout from Neil Patel had written.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing is it didn't register as a broken link because Quick Sprout redirected it.
Oh, I
And
didn't
it
think
was
of that.
redirecting to here's where it was fascinating. They'd actually they'd done a content refresh of their own. So the post that they wrote that I linked to in like 2015 that had 10 tips, marketing actions to go try, was now a blog post that had 37 ways to maximize your conversion. I'm like, interesting. Like, so it didn't, if I had followed just the broken link checkers, I don't know how long I would have known that if I was pointing to something under a different title. I'm like, similar content but different. And so this is where at 1 o'clock in the morning I find myself on the rabbit trail of going, oh, I need to rewrite this post to reflect that the thing that I'm curating is now different and
Right.
expanded. And so there's a tip that even if you're checking on the broken links, you might want to go ahead and click and still follow through where it goes, because if that other site has redirecting because they've updated something, apparently it's not going to show under the broken link checker.
Wow, I didn't even think of that. That's great. I just wrote that down when you said that. Like, let me go back and click on it.
You go back and click on it. And so we're you both using, like, literally I think it's called broken link checker. It's a
Yeah.
plugin. And I did also note that when I was viewing some of the older, once I have it, I only run it and activate it like twice a year, because otherwise
Okay.
it's a giant resource hog, and it will fight with other plugins and it fights with your speed. So basically, run it twice, maybe once a quarter, and then deactivate it and then update it. So, but I noticed that it leaves a little blue cross outline for any of the links that were actually broken. So it helped me. I'm going and I'm updating the post, and then I hit preview, and I'm like, oh, still missed one,
Oh, that is cool.
which was pretty cool. So yeah, so each of us went and we were surprised by some of those posts. Did you find any other surprises when you were digging around, cleaning the nooks and crannies and the corners?
So like I say, I'm kind of techie and geeky. Also, not to call you a geek, but if it fits.
We're
But
geeks, honey. It's okay.
but
Proud.
I also went into Search Console to see like what people were actually searching to land on these pages, and then I went and actually freshened up some of the SEO. I used just a simple Yoast SEO plugin, but I freshened up some of the SEO, not on every post, but on ones that I looked that I was getting some actual traffic on. And it's just really interesting to see what people are actually typing in versus to get to your site versus what you think they're going to type in to get to your site. So that was a shock and it was interesting. And it was a rabbit hole too. I think I spent a couple days just playing in Search Console because it's data and data's cool, you know?
That's a really cool. And all right. And here's where I'd make the admission, just like I admitted with Pam and Karen, that I completely borked my Google Analytics and had to reinstall it.
Hmm.
Um, I don't remember the last time I looked at Search Console because that is the only place where you can see what Google is saying people are actually searching for. Keyword Tracker doesn't really, you know,
Hmm.
exist. And the geeky part of me is like, you're right. I need to know that because what if they're finding me from something completely different than what I think I'm doing?
Exactly.
So
I had
what surprised, what did you find? What were people searching on that was leading them to you? And you're like, oh, well, that wasn't what I thought meant.
I had this one post about people who are like always judging moms about being a bad mom. And people are actually looking for stuff on bad moms and landing on that post, which had nothing to do with it was the opposite of being a bad mom. It was
Oh.
about stop the mom shaming. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to change some of the words in the
Mm.
post and the SEO because people were looking for stuff about bad moms. And this was about not mom shaming, like stop mom shaming. So that was probably the most interesting thing that I dug out of the Search Console.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because something like that from a geeky standpoint could lead to bounces
Yes.
because somebody's going to search in Google bad moms and they land on the page and they're like, well, no, this is about how moms can be better. Damn.
Right.
A-
Hmm.
And then they bounce off, which isn't great for
Exactly.
our website statistics. Whereas if instead they're searching for stop mom shaming and they land on the page, you're like, yes, this is it. This gets it.
Hmm.
They stay. That's a really
Yeah.
great insight.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but it's a rabbit hole. I mean, data is just a rabbit hole. So.
Which is one reason I appreciate that our coach and who puts on the Stretch Yourself challenge, of which this content refresh is a part.
Hmm.
Anybody can do a content refresh.
Right.
Give yourself a time limit to do it because it's a rabbit trail. That's why
Oh, it
we're
is.
all tackling this and trying to get it done by September 30th. And yet Pam and Karen and you and I and everybody I've talked to has said, wow, I need to do this more than once a year, but I can't do this every month.
Mm-mm.
And it's like spring cleaning and fall cleaning, and don't leave the dust bunnies, hanging out everywhere. It makes it a lot easier if we go and fix these broken things on our websites if we do it more than once a year. Um, and I think, but giving it a time frame, like saying you're only going to take 2 weeks once a quarter, 2 weeks
Right.
out of every six months will stop us from, otherwise we could be like, ooh, data, ooh, what does that say? What does that do? And the next thing you know, nothing, we're doing nothing but like tweaking words here and there. And I
And the
guess that
more you
was,
do it,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, it's like, how else do you hopping down from going down the rabbit trail?
I'm sorry, I didn't. You broke up a little bit. I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was saying, how else can you help stop ourselves from going down the rabbit trail?
I agree, but I think if we keep doing it, let's say we do it 2 or 3 times a year, there's not going to be as much to do if we
Yeah,
continue to keep up it. Like if we're consistent. Last year when I did it was the first time in 6 years. Well, in 5 years at that point, and then
yeah.
this year was a big thing because it was only one more year. But if I continue to do it every 3 to 4 months, there's not going to be much to do. It's not going to be a big project as much as I'm going to spend this week going back through the content and seeing things like that. So I
I
think it's
think,
just we got to
yeah,
stay up on top of it.
exactly. Which is, I tell people, same with website maintenance. And maybe that's one of those things that we put in our checklists
Hmm.
about keeping track of our website, and or it's even, there are some things we can outsource and other things we do ourselves. Just like once a week you're going to run your plugin updates and you're going to check for any WordPress updates. that, maybe once a month you're going and checking to make sure that, um, like you said, going to Search Console. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what I want people to be searching on and finding me for. And then maybe the next month on that checklist of monthly maintenance things is, checking the images, um,
That's
something
a
like that.
really good idea.
Or
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm sitting here thinking like, and I put the link in for at least I think I did. I put the link in for Airtable because I love the idea that I could potentially use something that's going to update itself, not just me going in and adding the things into Google Spreadsheet, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah, I use Zapier, and
yeah,
anytime you publish something on your WordPress website, I have a Zapier that drops it right into the Airtable, which is really nice. It only works for posts. It doesn't work for pages, so I have to manually put the page information in. But at least I get the post information. You put more new posts than you actually do pages. So
yeah, excellent. And just as a reminder, that could almost be a whole second content refresh that we do a couple times a year is the pages. So looking
mhm,
at things like our sales pages, landing pages, pages for an upgraded offer, what we refer to as a tripwire. So somebody got our free report. Here's a special deal that you can get to get a workbook to go with it. I know Erica's working on a planner. It's like, oh, you want to get the special deal now. Here, those are all those types of their pages. They're more evergreen, but things can break on those too.
yes, yes, yes.
Um, for example, I found one of the posts that I was cleaning up referred to a training I don't offer. Um, another one offered a class, pointed to a class. I'm like, well, that's fine. I should probably have the course out there evergreen, but it talked about it as if it was still happening next week. I'm like, oh,
Mhm,
no. So those are the other things to look out for.
mhm.
Um, and so we have a question about Zapier, and the answer is Zapier is both free and paid.
Yes.
There are limits, in terms of which tools it connects with for free and what it can do, or how many, I think, zaps for free. Erica, do you know the one that you're talking about between WordPress and Airtable?
It's a
Um,
free Zap. It's a
that's a
free
free zap.
Zap. I have the free Airtable and I have a free Zapier. So I don't pay for the
Awesome.
upgraded versions of either one of those. It's it's nice because it does it automatically, but that's the only Zap that I have that's automatic. I don't use Zapier for anything else.
And for example, I looked at Zapier at one point, potentially to connect my PayPal buttons and my email marketing service with ActiveCampaign, and discovered that that was going to require a paid
Hmm.
Zapier integration level. And I'm like, which is, I went with a different tool instead. So that's one thing to look into, is that you may be able to get away with doing quite a bit for free with Zapier. And then there are other automations that it does, but it does require paid. I think it's a monthly subscription in Zapier.
I know there was I was using WP Forms for my forms on my website, but to use the Zapier for it to go straight to the Airtable, it was going to be an upgrade for WP Forms. So I just now create forms in Airtable and embed them on my site because it doesn't make sense to pay for tools if you can do the same thing for free. So I try
Sure,
to get as much free out of things like that.
absolutely. Let's bootstrap. Just like at a call today, we were talking about, did we need to add a survey product or something? And the answer is, we have G Suite. We can use Google Forms. Is it the prettiest? No, but it's free. There's a lot you can do with that. There's a lot you can do. I'm running the free version of Formidable Forms,
Yeah.
on my website. Is there occasionally I run into something where I'm like, I wish, but um, so I guess in terms of content refreshing, what are you hoping to get done by the end of the day and the end of the month?
Um, I don't. I just want to. I'm going to work until midnight. I know that until it says 10/1/2020. There's a free gift that I want to give away. I'm working on a short book that I want to, like a short ebook that I want to connect to that one post that I told you that gets 30% of
Yeah,
my traffic, because I feel that
absurd.
many people are coming to my site for that one page. I'd like to give them a gift. So that's actually the big goal for tonight when it comes to the content refresh. Is I'd really like to finish that so I can have that for people who come to the site to get for free. If you're coming there and you're getting some value here, take some more value from that. And I have the information. I got 6 more years of experience now. So that's the big goal for
That's
the
great.
content refresh tonight.
That's a great point. And another great reason to do these refreshes is that every month we're out there in business. Every month, you work on a side hustle or in a business. We've learned something, and we know new things to share with our audiences. We know new ways to do things. We can streamline, and why not go back and make better, polish, clean up, some of the things that are out there on our literal home bases where we're showing the
Yeah.
world. Um, so that's a great goal, and I'll say mine right now is the monster. I promised everybody the monster post, the monster 6,000 word blog post about changing email services that Karen has so kindly given me the starting edits for. I've gotten other posts done. All the images are going to be refreshed by tonight. All of the truly old posts that don't serve me anymore are now off pretty much.
Oh, good.
Um, it's the one thing that I'll feel like, okay, I feel good, is to fix the monster. There are other things I'd like to do. Like you just said, I have a post that gets a whopping amount of traffic on my website. There's an opt-in on there in that page. There's an opt-in on the page, so that's good.
Yeah.
It's not the best opt-in. It's not the one that matches that content um, the best. So do I think I can get that done by tonight? Uh, no. I'll be really truly honest. No. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes me to incorporate Karen's edits from the monster post. Um,
Yeah, 6,000 words. When I saw that yesterday, I didn't. I said six. I don't. I have nothing anywhere near that long. I probably don't. My posts are very short, actually, so I'll be 600 words. And they're like 6,000. Wow, wow. And I love how we have this arbitrary time. It has to be done by midnight. I mean, we've basically done the content refresh for the month, but we're still like, okay, by midnight tonight, which is just. It could be done tomorrow, but no, it has to be done tonight.
you're right. This is because we are competing in this other challenge. It is a completely arbitrary deadline, which is why we each have things that are next, and I know the things that I'm still going to keep tackling and working on.
Hmm.
But I legit don't feel like I can claim my 30 points if I if I leave 6,000 words out there. You know, yeah, Fran just said yes. It is an ebook.
6,000 words. Wow.
Yeah. I journaled. I journaled my way through changing email services and just put it all out there on the for the world to see. So, but I appreciate you, Fran, telling me that it has still good information. So we both talked about, I have other things coming up next. I have other projects. Like you said, I want to have that best foot forward. But you have a very specific project that you are cleaning house for, and I'm going to change the banner because I want you to be able a chance to talk to people about why it was so important to you to have everything looking spiffy at Moms on the Grow. Um, because you have this coming up. Everybody
Yeah.
look at.
For some reason, like I said, I just rebranded last year, and I just want to have like a big party to celebrate the new Moms on the Grow. So I decided to take a challenge and have the Moms on the Grow Summit. So we're having a summit for the moms on the second week of November, November 11th, 12th, and 13th. And I figure more people are going to be coming to the site, coming around Moms on the Grow. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to make sure the house was clean. Because when you're having a party, you want to make sure you clean in the corners and things like that. So that was one of the reasons I did the content request. And I'm very excited about the summit. The summit is for moms to help them escape overwhelm, escape mom guilt. And it was interesting. Yesterday, you said you and Pam were talking about putting the oxygen mask on yourself. And on my page about my summit, I talk about putting the oxygen mask on yourself because that's what it's important. I mean, you're going to show up fresh and refresh for your families. You got to take care of yourself. You got to be a good model to your family. So I'm really really excited about the summit.
And I'm really excited to have seen all of the work that you've put on, the work that you've done since the rebranding, the embracing your message, embracing your niche, and to see this. I love the idea of having a party to celebrate that and to inviting more people, to the house, invite more people to share with you. And I think the timing of it works very well because there's a lot of pressures on moms coming into the end of the year, and no matter what has happened in 2020, they're still going to be there, isn't it? I mean,
What did you say?
I said that even with 2020 being a weird year, there's still going to be a lot of pressure on moms heading into the end of the year.
Yeah, and on top of what's happened in 2020, I mean, in March alone, we all of a sudden became not that. I mean, I love being a mom, but I became a mom, a working mom. I have a business, and I became wasn't a homeschool mom, but we had school at home because she still had a teacher. But and just helping your children go through all the different feelings of things that have been happening over the last 6 months, and then go into the holiday season. It's time for moms to remember to take care of themselves so they can show up for their families fresh and refreshed because there's been a lot on us as we've been taking care of our families through the pandemic, through all the other things going on. And yeah, it's a good time. Timing is great. I'm
Absolutely.
excited. Yeah, I'm really
I'm
excited.
excited, and I think for anybody who's watching, share share Erica's summit with your friends, with your mom friends. It's maybe grab some girlfriends together to do almost like a virtual spa retreat day. This is taking care of you. This is taking care of your needs. This is putting you in the position, like Erica just said, put your oxygen mask on first so that you are ready for the end of the year. And I could see this being a really great opportunity for several friends to get together and you know, attend together and support each other as you head into the end of the year.
And one of the things I wanted to say is I was talking to a friend of mine and I was talking about the summit and that they didn't understand it was a virtual summit. This is a summit you can do in your jammies at home. They thought I was trying to have an actual summit. I was like, no, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, but it is 100% virtual. You can do it in your jammies with your friends, and it's going to be fun. We have some great speakers who are going to come in with some good tips and strategies for moms to put that oxygen mask on themselves and escape this guilt and overwhelm. So
Which is really awesome. And I love that we've got somebody saying that she's already shared it with her own daughter, and that
oh,
she's going
thank
to be
you.
and that she's going to be the child care so that her daughter can attend the summit. Another great reason to get together as friends to do this together. Like you said, keep your PJs on, have your beverage of choice by your side while you're doing the summit because it's all virtual. But and loving how this ties together with all of the other content projects we've been working on this year. That we've got the stuff spiffed up, we've got everything working, we've got the back end bits doing all the thing, and Erica knows now from Search Console what people are searching for, so that can mean who you invite to come to the summit, and who you're going to speak on, because that you people are already landing on your site. Are they mom shaming? The topics in the summit. I'm not actually sure your summit topics.
Did I
Um,
notice? I'm sorry, you broke up at the end of that
I'm
sentence.
sorry, I was actually saying that, for example, you took the information that was from your Search Console. Like, for example, people were searching about mom shaming, and I was
Hmm.
wondering whether that was one of the topics that was possibly going to be in the summit.
It actually is. The mom shaming is going to be one of the topics in the subject, or act like how we all just want to be the best. No one's out here saying I'm trying to be a bad mom. So we have to stop mom shaming ourselves. So I
Yes.
think we put more pressure on ourselves than people from the outside actually put on us. So yes, that's the angle we're going to talk about. Is stop. You're doing great. Your kids think you're awesome. They love you, and we're all just trying to do what's best for our families. So yeah, actually, that is one of the topics.
Truly,
Yeah.
folks, that was not a setup. That was me guessing.
I know
And
that was
knowing
good.
and knowing that Erica probably did, in fact, take a look at her data to inform her content decisions, because we're smart and geeky like that.
Yeah, I'm very data driven anyway by nature, so yeah, everything is kind of data.
Absolutely, and that's another good reason why I decided to do the refresh, to take a look at my own data, because I had set literally that my goal for 2020 was to be very intentional
Hmm.
and to have things integrate and line up. Which meant I had to look at my own data for that,
Right.
and to make sure that I was giving my audience, my peeps, what they want, and what they're searching for. So this is the inspiration for America for me to go get into my own search console and see if I've got any mismatches, and put that on my to-do list for continuing to refresh.
Yeah, for your next checklist for refreshing, because it's a rabbit hole in itself. Trust me.
It is that, folks, that might be an entire different webinar or Facebook live series with Erica as we go through my search console and Airtable. Stay tuned for more if that is something that interests you. In the meantime, I really hope you check out Moms on the Grow and the Moms on the Grow Summit. And I'm also hoping that everybody comes back. We've got one more Facebook Live with me, 3 p.m. tomorrow, where I get to report in, did I make it? Did I make my deadlines? Did I get it done? And sharing any other lessons that were learned. And anybody wants to ask any other questions about the refresh, about what's next, to talk about what you might want to tackle in your own content refresh projects on your websites, let's come chat tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. So thank you, Erica, so much for being with
Oh,
me.
thanks, Jennifer. This was great. Thank you, and Pam and Karen were great also. I can't wait till tomorrow.
I've had wonderful opportunities with friends,
Hmm.
and fellow smart, savvy business owners to share with me this week, and I can't thank each of you enough. And so definitely, everybody, if you're having a chance watching the replay, make sure you drop your comments in, and your thanks to Erica as well as to my other guests this week. And if you want to let us know what projects you're taking on your website, be sure to drop those in the comments as well. Awesome. Hey, oh, and I just got this. Hang on, I just got a note when somebody's watching. Val says that she's excited because she's got a client who's going to be a speaker in the Moms on the Grow Summit. So, hey, for all I know, Erica, are you still looking for speakers?
I really am. I'm looking for speakers. I'll drop it in the chat. It's momsonthegrow.com/speaker app, but I'll drop it in the chat after the thing.
She'll drop it in the
Yes.
chat. Awesome, because I'm sure that there's lots of folks within my community who can help those moms to take care of their best selves and to take themselves off of the shelf, especially as we end the year strong. So
Yeah.
thank you again, Erica. I really appreciate you being here with me and
Thanks,
sharing.
Jennifer. Yeah, this was
All
great.
right.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow, Mighty
Bye.
Peeps.
Bye. Bye.